Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the DJ Life podcast.
Dude with glasses sitting here. Rick
He's
Webb.
on cue. We have a newly married man on the podcast today.
Oh, yes. Round of applause for me. Thank you.
I got to attend Erik's wedding this weekend. It was fun. It was a blast. He DJ'd at his own wedding, too.
You have to.
Dude, I saw a picture on Facebook or a video, and I'm like, dude, is Erik standing behind the decks at his own wedding? What
He was.
And Rachel, the wife, that's weird, but she literally came up and she was pretty drunk, and she was like, "You're DJing now," and I was like, "Okay."
So prior to that, there was like a group of like 5, 6 of us outside, and she comes outside. She's like, "All you motherfuckers inside! I'm getting Erik the DJ," and we're like, "Okay, we're going."
That was hilarious.
Dude, at my wedding, I had 11 different DJs as guests, and I had plenty of people asking me about DJing my wedding, and I told my wife at the time, I'm like, you pick whoever you want. I'm not getting down that road of trying to have someone be upset that I didn't pick them. She picked the guy. I knew him. I'm friends with him. He's a good dude. He did a good job. And I told him point blank, I said, look, there's going to be 11 DJs in that room. You do not let any of them get behind the decks. This is your party, your show. Do your thing. I want them partying and drinking and having fun. Nobody behind the turntables.
This is not like a dick measuring
DJ
off.
No. That's like what every one of my buddies wants to do at my wedding right now. They're all like, "Are you gonna have like all of us do like a 30-minute set?" I'm like, "No, none of you guys are touching the fucking decks. Period."
Dude, I almost had like a FBI wanted poster, like, do not allow these 10 guys behind the booth, and put it there. Here's their headshot.
Exactly.
So, the guest, Michael Alevras, is that how you said that?
You said it wrong already.
Alevras.
I was going to try it.
Alevras.
Here, I'll help you. Alevras.
God damn it. Alevras.
I was going to say, I wasn't trying it.
I've been dealing with that for 44 years, so don't worry about it.
Every time I tried to tag you, I kept trying to type Alvarez, like with a V at the beginning, and it was like, nope, can't find him. And then I'd have to scroll back to Facebook, be like, damn it. And then I'd go back.
Everybody reverses the E and the V, so I'm used to
that was me. Right.
So thanks for having me, guys.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So tell us a little about yourself before we start up. Where are you from first?
I'm from a town in Orange County, New York, called Washingtonville, New York.
Okay.
It's about 65 miles north of Manhattan. Even that 60-mile drive could take you 2.5 hours with our traffic.
Right.
Just 2.5? I feel like it'd be more than that sometimes.
Yeah, it can. So I grew up in Orange County. I've lived here my whole life, went to high school up here. And Washingtonville's claim to fame is we are the home of America's oldest winery called the Brotherhood Winery. And in the Orange County, Hudson Valley area, some of the kind of like landmarks or things people would know of were in our backyard is the United States Military Academy at West Point Army. So that's in our area. And if you guys remember a TV show called American Chopper where the father and the son made...
Of course.
Orange County Choppers is Orange County, New York, not Orange County, California.
Okay.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I didn't know
so
that
their facility, their production, their factory, all of it's, I drive past it all the time. It's in our backyard.
Cool. I was going to ask about snow up there, but I don't think that's not like a snowy area all of a sudden. I feel like that was going to be a stupid question.
Oh, no, we had snow today. We got
snow.
like 3 or 4 inches today.
Yeah?
Yeah, we got 3 or 4 inches
well,
today.
Shit, like Vegas has been getting snow lately, so I feel like right now might not be the time to measure that by. Did you hear about that? The PBX, there was like a sandstorm, and then immediately were you there?
No, I wasn't there.
They had a snow?
Yeah, dude.
Two of my guys were there, but I'm friends Brian McGann from SMPL Simple.
Yeah.
He's in my market. Like we bid on gigs together.
Okay.
And he put up a Facebook reel or a story or whatever, and it was like snowflakes falling. I'm like, what the?
I know, yeah. For real,
I saw
crazy.
what is it, Cleveland Terry's video going from
a sandstorm
from LA into Vegas, and it was just like sand crazy.
Yeah. They had a sandstorm, and then it snowed the next day. Just weird shit. But
sounds like we just like West Coast is just having a lot of fucked up shit happen. I mean, LA got like flooded, and then
past 3 years. What do you expect?
yeah.
It's just thing after thing right now.
They're all
can't believe Armageddon hasn't happened yet.
I mean, they're all moving this way anyway.
I'm not talking about the banger by Bruce Willis, but so Michael, DJ, obviously.
Yep.
Single op, multi op. Tell us about your.
I work for a multi-op. I'm the vice president of the Hudson Valley Event Group. We have 14 headliners on staff right now. We've got a photography division, and we have now a full rental company like tables, chairs, tents, flatware, glassware, dishware. And I still perform. I still DJ regularly. I love doing that. But yeah, I'm managing a sizable enterprise up here.
Yeah. What do you like? What are your what does your job entail? Like, tell me about your typical day.
My typical day ranges from meeting with our director of operations on one day. His name is Dan. I might meet with my director of sales another day. I might meet with our rental guy or our photography guy. Like we just got into doing the retro audio phone guest book thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Added that. My photographer is also our graphic designer in house, and so I told him I need to mock up some social media graphics so we can get that, promoted. And we're going to stage a shoot once we get all the hardware and the equipment, we're going to stage a shoot and take photos of it that we could use for that. I network with other DJs. I talk with my staff. I book events. I check the schedule, but I kind of oversee all the other guys getting their stuff done. What do they need to keep the company running effectively and efficiently? So I kind of wear a whole bunch of hats. The only things I do not touch. I don't touch payroll, unemployment tax, workers' comp, budgeting, the finances. My boss, Josh, that's all on him. I don't go anywhere near that.
So you're strictly like execution,
day-to-day operations. And I'm a filter for Josh. Like, Josh has enough stuff on his plate to, do the kind of global big thinking projections of the company where we want to be. And he doesn't need to be bogged down in minutia on, this piece of equipment isn't working or this is an issue. Those guys report to me. I help solve those problems and filter them out and just tell Josh what he needs to know or say, yeah, this was taken care of. Don't worry about it. We're moving forward.
Yeah. Josh.
Lask, L-A-S-K.
I don't think I know him.
He spoke at PBX last week. He was there. He gave a presentation. And Erik, when you and I met face to face for the first time at Marquee in Chicago, his brother Matt was with me.
Okay.
So Matt's our director of sales. So
cool. I love hearing.
Go ahead.
No, I love hearing about like, I'll call them like a monster operation, stuff like that. Cause like, I think I'm such hot shit. And then I hear some shit like that and I'm like,
well, here's the crazy part. Like I had worked for a multi-op for 8 years. The guy was a complete idiot, didn't know how to run his business, but I had kind of elevated to like his second in command. And I outgrew his company. He couldn't pay me any more than I was getting paid. Creatively, I was kind of stifled. And then Josh, we met when he was 16 years old. I'm a little older than him. And he cold called me when I was working for the other company, trying to find out, what's the marketplace like? Because he was starting his own DJ company. And I saw through it really fast because he started asking questions like, what brand speakers do you use? And he also said that he was pricing, he needed a DJ for his daughter's Sweet 16. And just the tone of his voice, I'm like,
right.
This is, I knew it was bullshit, but I was like, you know what? I'll play along. I have nothing to hide. And after I hung up the phone with him and gave him an honest answer, he called me back and said, hey, I'm the guy calling about the Sweet 16. I'm not really having a Sweet 16. I'm a DJ. I said, no shit.
Right.
I know
He's like, really? It didn't work?
Bastard.
And he goes, well, how do you know? I'm like, bro, you don't sound old enough to have a 16-year-old. And two, not a damn client gives a crap about the brand model of speaker I'm using.
I know. I have had that question before, and I'm immediately like, we're full. I don't care.
You're suspect right away.
Yeah, you got to go. I don't know what's up with you. I'm like,
you're too technical.
We use the good ones. How about that?
Yeah, it's going to sound good. But
right.
Josh, was building his own company. I mentored him. I gave him some advice, and I also used them for the multi app I was employed by.
Mm-hmm.
And after a little while, once I kind of realized that I was reaching the end of my time at my first DJ company, I kind of proposed to Josh. I said, dude, I'm looking for a change. If you can make me an offer that I'm happy with, let's talk. And he basically doubled what I was making at the other company. And I basically said, it's over. I'm done. I'm out. See you later. Well,
right. How old are you?
I'm 44.
44. How old were you when you got into this game?
I was 18 years old. I started in May of 1997.
Okay. And tell us about that.
So that first guy that I worked for, he was my next door neighbor.
Okay.
And he had a DJ company for like 5 or 6 years. I graduated high school in 1997. So I'm in my senior year. I'm thinking about, I'm going to be going to college, but it'd be nice to have a job to make some money, during the summer before I leave, and I did not want to be folding clothes at a retail store. I didn't want to be flipping hamburgers at a restaurant. And I approached him and said, hey, do you need anybody? Do you have any work? Like, I need to do something until I go to school. And if I could find it, I'd love to see it. But my job application that I filled out for him and the job position he wrote down, my job title was roadie. Mm-hmm. My job was going to be help set up gear, break down gear, and be a case bitch, and lug shit around. And he hired me. He took me on a few jobs, and he quickly realized that I was showing interest and intrigue about the music he's playing, what he's doing on the microphone. And in high school and in elementary school, I had done theater, performing arts, so I naturally like to perform. And he quickly said, you're not going to be a roadie, you're going to be a DJ. I'm going to train you to be a DJ. And I got my start there, and I've never stopped. Yeah. There was a short period when I was away at college that I got away from it. And I didn't last at college very long. It wasn't for me. And when I came home, dove right back into DJ, and I've never stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised, honestly, in like that, because you were that age, you didn't get into the club, bar scene, or unless you did and you just didn't mention it.
I did a little bit, like that first summer when I was working for him in 97, and then in the following one, 98, after I didn't go back to college. Some of his accounts included the occasional bar gig here or there that I went to, but I wasn't like, wow, in high school I was not a big partier. Like, I didn't go to a lot of parties and house parties, or trying to sneak drinks and all, and even going to parties as a guest at like a classmate's Sweet 16. I was so involved with sports at the time, I didn't have time for that. I did not have time to do all that type of stuff. So I wasn't into it from, I want to go out and party and drink for free and that type of thing. I just kind of enjoyed the performance and the kind of reaction that the crowds would give you, and the response you would get. That's kind of what piqued my interest.
That was like the total, so I was definitely the party guy. I was super into drugs, getting fucked up all the time and whatnot. And DJing for me, when I started, was that like the reactions from people. It was the pats on the back. It was the getting the response from the crowd. It was people calling you the man, basically. And I was like, this is the shit. I don't care if I was getting paid $0. It was still awesome. And then it kind of developed, from there. It took me forever to get into events, though. I was doing shitty bars and low payout crap clubs for fucking years and years.
Yeah, I would go to some of those bar gigs, sometimes as an assistant to help set up, to kind of get trained, cut your teeth, but I wasn't the guy. It wasn't like the umbilical cord was cut and I was free to do whatever I want yet.
Yeah.
And gradually he would take me on other events, whether it was a wedding or a bar and bat mitzvah or a Sweet 16. And I remember distinctly he had weekly staff meetings, because we had, back then, crowd motivators were way more used than they are today.
That's
nowadays
still so different up north, though.
What was that?
That's still just so different up north. A party motivator here, I don't even know, like,
Well,
that would be like, what? You know?
Yeah, well, nowadays, even in this market, in the New Jersey tri-state area,
Right.
it's strictly a bar mitzvah thing.
Yep.
Like even when I started in the late '90s, there you'd have them occasionally on weddings. It was a thing, but that died out fast. But I remember at a staff meeting one day, we're sitting around, he's handing out job assignments, and this is when you've got the big paper calendar book that you're writing gigs in. And he says to me, "All right, Mike, you're leading this Sweet 16." And I'm like, the fuck? Like, I'm not ready for that. And I remember distinctly, I went on that job. He sent somebody with me who had less experience than me, and it was a binder of promo only CDs and a binder of CDs called the Platinum Series. I don't know if you guys are old enough to even know what that is.
I know the Platinum Series. That's promo only still, though, isn't it?
No, Platinum Series was not put out by promo only. That was a complete no distribution of music.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know the exact CDs you're talking about, even though
that 40 disc set.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like our wedding playlist these days. It's like every song you'd imagine, "Shook Me All Night Long," and
that was
fucking
literally the extent
Salt and Pepper
of the
Push
music.
It, and just like all that bullshit, you know.
Old time rock and roll and all that crap.
Right.
You know, that's how I started. That was my first taste of DJing by myself.
I could have sworn that was promo only release. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That's cool. So you started out as a roadie with this multi-op, the first one, and you said there's headliners. That was your current though. That wasn't the old one.
Well, now we call them headliners. Back then we called them DJs.
Oh, okay, all right, that makes sense. I wasn't sure if it was like a headliner DJ versus like a novice DJ, or there's different price points. This is leading to my question of what was the process like of making your way from like the noob to the dude? You know, like, what does that look like?
Well, it was a lot of trial and error. And, that first company, once kind of the dam was broken of doing jobs by yourself, and progressively getting more comfortable with it, and making a lot of mistakes and learning kind of on the fly, because that guy was not a really great teacher of this DJ industry and what's kind of the right and wrong things to do, at least back then. But as I did it more and more and more, and he entrusted me leading a wedding, leading a bar bat mitzvah, and getting better at it, would have at the same time, because I hadn't gotten to a point where I was making enough money, even as a 20-year-old, I still wanted to have money and had, have car insurance, all that crap. So I did have a part-time job at a shoe store at a big mall, and I was getting like 20 hours a week at, I don't know, let's say $10 an hour. And I said to my boss, I said, "Bro, I hate that job. I'm getting 20 hours a week at $10 an hour. It's $200 a week. If you can pay me $200 a week to match that, I will quit that job and I'll help you run your company, maybe book some jobs. Let's see if we can do it." And he said, "Yeah, let's do it." And that's how I got into doing sales, meeting clients, calling them on the phone, doing meetings, and getting more into the business end of it. And that's really where it really took off, doing all that.
What year was that? What year do you think?
99, 2000.
So I'd imagine you were not running even a Google Sheets business at that point.
Dude,
it's straight
paper.
Rolodexes and...
Yeah, dude. I mean, our calendar was a big, thick calendar book you could buy at Staples that had every month in it.
Right.
And everything was written in there. And it was a 3-ring binder. We had hole punches, contracts that went in. I mean, yeah.
There's still DJs to this day doing that same thing.
I'll ask you the golden question that every motherfucker I've ever talked to in my life has asked me, and I'm dead serious. Where did you get your leads?
Bridal shows.
I'm dead serious, though. Back then, I don't even know how I'd get them.
Dude, it was bridal shows.
Bridal shows.
It was referrals from
other
venues.
Than word of mouth. Word of mouth is like you get my point.
Bridal shows.
So bridal shows and maybe magazine articles or like newspaper.
Newspaper, yeah.
You want me to blow your mind?
I was only 9 years old at the time, so I don't even know what life was like.
At that time, we actually had a small quarter-page ad in something called the Yellow Pages,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
a phone book,
I wonder,
and
like,
that thing would generate calls.
produced. That's nuts. So let's say someone called, because I'd imagine it started with a phone call.
Oh, the phone calls.
Because I don't know how else they'd contacted. Did emails happen back then?
Email, I mean,
enough.
email was up and coming. AOL was.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember
It wasn't,
AOL in
like, prevalent,
1997 using it, but
It was all phone calls, wasn't it? It had to
it
be.
was all phone.
So then
Yeah.
you'd write the contact down. You'd be like, all right, Joe Schmo, you know, event date is October date. And then they didn't book. So maybe you'd be like, I'm going to call Joe Schmo back in a week because he didn't book us yet. I don't know. I just like.
What was the
that's
follow-up process? Is
Yeah.
that
Like,
weird?
what
Like,
is a.
Did you like track them and like follow up with them or like?
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah. It was absolutely get on the phone. Hi, my name's Michael from XYZ DJ Company. How can I help you? Start talking about it. All right, great. Would you like the book? Oh, let me talk to my wife, or I'm not sure. Okay, great. Click. Couple days, a week. Hey, haven't heard back from you. Do you want a book? And you'd go through like a pile of leads.
Right.
To keep track of what you've been doing. And
If I told my sales dude, Graham,
We live in a great era.
he literally, if I told him he had to cold call someone one time, he would
flip
quit.
shit.
He'd quit that day. He'd be like, all right, bro, I'm out. Like, he would text him. He would actually lie to me and text him instead and just act like he did.
I actually literally just told Hannah, who does all of ours now, because she was complaining to me in our meeting on Monday that like she had like 3 people not show up or not answer her text or email. I'm like, well, if they don't show up to the video meeting, just call them and then you can cross off you've done everything possible to try and get hold of them.
Yeah, you leave him a voicemail and text him.
And she's like, we never call anybody though. And I'm like, no, we don't. But for this reason, they scheduled a meeting, so let's call them.
That's crazy.
I mean,
it's funny. It's almost like you say that and it's like, duh. But like, to think about that nowadays, it's just nuts that you had to do. I feel like that's like Stone Age shit. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, because there's so many softwares and
that was a slap in the face to me when I started the Christmas light business because I was dealing with all people in their 50s and above, where all they do is phone calls. So we were trying to hang Christmas lights. So every client was a phone call. It was so foreign to us to even. Like, we can't just text and email. Like, everything was done over the phone. It was like literally collecting credit card info on the phone and doing everything. It was so crazy.
I have to remind Graham sometimes that we're talking to parents.
Oh, the parents
and
sometimes,
they're
old,
and they're not with it, and you have to talk to them how they're trying to get you to talk to them like that. Like, they want you to call. They're like, can you call me right now? And it's like, how about you fill out this Calendly link instead?
I feel like
just fucking call them.
I feel like like when I was doing all the calls and answering all the calls, when you would get a parent on the phone though, they were like so appreciative of like you. They're like, you're like the first DJ I've called that actually answered the phone.
Yeah,
I still get that today.
Yeah,
I bet anything if you do that, you get those bookings. Period.
Oh, 100%.
I'll blow your mind for a second.
Blow it, please.
So I still like doing some pen and paper stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I had a cold call came through our office line. Wasn't expecting it. She said, "Hey, I'm looking for a DJ at such and such a venue. Blah blah blah. I'm happy to tell you." And she's like, "I can't believe you're actually there. Other DJs have just left messages." Yeah, well, this is what I do. 25 minutes later, I closed her for $8,500.
Shit. Yeah.
Only because I picked up the phone.
Yeah.
It's such a, but we're adaptable to everything. Like I have, my guys, yes, use email. Yes, use text messaging. Yes, use the phone. Well, any touch point that can get us in contact with a client or get them to communicate the book, I'm going to do. And that's, Matt and the other guys that do sales, that's their marching orders it's a numbers game. It's a contact thing. I'm a big fan of movies and stuff like Wolf of Wall Street or Glengarry Glen Ross.
Seriously?
I need to watch that again.
Dude, Wolf of Wall Street, I literally get like goosebumps watching it because it gets me so excited. Like...
I don't know if you saw, someone had put up a post on Facebook about, after a bridal show, are you calling right away? Are you waiting? What's the point of contact? And how often do you follow up? And my response was, it's a retainer or a restraining order. That's what I like. I will contact people or email or or have automated things sent out. Like I will be, what's the line he uses? Telephone terrorist, man. Like we will.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone's scared of the phone. I'm legitimately scared of the phone. I'm the first one to say, well, I'm not the first one to say it, but you know what I mean? I hate talking on the fucking phone. Well, I don't hate it, but I need to be warned. You know what I mean? It cannot be like
out of the
blue, or I can't. That's uncomfortable, you know.
See,
and that's how people are built these days.
I enjoy talking on the phone. Like if I can get someone on the phone and have a conversation, I'm happy to do it. If they want to do email, I'm cool with that too. Like
right, well, it's easier. It's less personable.
And I just think like there's no black or white single one way to skin a cat.
No,
you know, any of these approaches work. Some people want text message. Some people reach out to us through Facebook. Some reach out through Instagram. Whatever. I want to be there, available, and be able to communicate with them.
Yeah, so I have a call service, right? My old phone number, like my old cell phone number that I started the company with, because I just didn't.
I forgot you still have that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one expects what happens to happen, you know. So anyways, so my phone number got ruined, of course. So I kept it, and I have this shitty old iPhone in my office, and I got a new number for my actual cell phone, and all calls that go to this old phone number just forward immediately to a call service, right? And I have some lady answer it or whatever. And I really ought to. I have a list of questions that I forced. That's like their questionnaire for a person to answer.
Right. It's a script for them.
Right. And it's not even crazy. It's literally they collect a name, a date, an email. They ask if it's a current client, and if it's a current client, if it's an emergency or not. If it's an emergency and it's a current client, they have permission to forward it to my phone. I ought to say, if it's a lead, forward it to this motherfucker's phone. Not me, or maybe me, but you get my point. Like sort of
put them in contact with someone.
Forward the call. Don't just record the information anymore.
No,
because we get those calls, you know, and I call them worthless. But they might not necessarily, you know, I don't know.
If they claim to be a lead, they're probably worth. They're 100% worth having someone talking.
You can at least talk to them for 3 fucking minutes, you know. Yeah. And if it's some bullshit, it's some bullshit. But
hey, I mean, it's better to actually talk to someone than have a scheduled wedding video call and then they don't even show up.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one that chaps my ass. Like if we schedule a time for a Zoom. Even like if a client is really hard up about doing a face-to-face meeting, if I think the prospects of them closing and it's going to be a big ticket, all right, I'll do that, you know, like a bar mitzvah or a wedding.
Right.
But then if they don't show for that Zoom meeting or whatever, that pisses me off.
It's especially when someone else, like they set the time. It's not like you set the time. You know, and I don't know if you have, you know, I'm sure you do, but like some kind of reminders system to go off, and so they get a text 6 hours before and then 1 hour before, and then they still don't show up, and they don't even have the courtesy to warn you, and you probably even have a button that's like a reschedule or a cancel button that they could have clicked also, and they don't do any of it. Fuck that shit. If I have an automation meeting for like my shit with like another DJ and they do that to me, I will block you. I will never talk to you again. I get so mad about it. Like, fuck you. I don't want to work with you anyways, you know.
Right.
This is exact. Oh, my mic's not hooked up. Damn it.
You unhooked.
You got this mic cord out.
I unhooked my mic so I could tell Alexa to turn the lights back on. I need to fix that. I need to make a note. I'm gonna make a note to fix that.
Make a note.
My whole house is automated, so the lights like turn on and off throughout the day. Yeah. And it was set at 10, and then I had adjusted the automation for some unknown reason. Up the start half an hour earlier, and now they show up at 9:30 in the middle of the podcast, so it's fucked up. Anyways, that's exactly what Hannah was complaining to me about this week. Was like she was getting pissed about people ghosting, and I was like, can't really do anything about it. You can add a phone call.
We had for the longest time, we had this slick VoIP phone system where they would call the office line, and there was a message prompt saying, you know, if you'd like to talk to Mike, press this number, Josh, this number, so and so. and it would ring right to that person's cell phone.
Yeah.
And then we also had it was also generic. If they hit the generic mailbox, oh, you'd like to speak to someone right now, it would ring everybody's phone number that was authorized, and whoever the first person that got it got the phone call. So it was almost like boiler room. Get the call, it's your lead. But we have seen that the phone isn't ringing as frequently as it used to. So we're just going to transfer that number to a landline, or another cell phone, and like Erik said, get a bullshit iPhone, leave it in the office here, and check it if there's calls that come in. Like, we do see that there's a change, because I don't need to be paying the amount of money we pay a month for this voice system to have 5 cell phones connected to it, because it's not being used as much. But when a client calls and they book for $8,500, I'm going to keep it.
Yep. Right. Well, the phone, I literally had it in a drawer somewhere, so it was free.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the service is $8 a month, and it's called TELLO. Tello. It's the worst service in the world, but it doesn't matter, because it unlimited texting, and I think I get 300 minutes, which is plenty, like beyond plenty of minutes.
Right.
Oh, you're talking services and coverage range. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, it stays connected to my Wi-Fi. It's impossible for this. Like, I'm gonna get the call. The iPhone doesn't move. If I was traveling with it, I wouldn't consider this. But then it forwards to my call service, which is I think it's $80 a month. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And that's it. So you're looking at $90 a month roughly for that. And it's honestly the biggest. Just for them to filter out the bullshit calls, because if it's like, you're looking to see if you want to have an ad in a magazine article, fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I don't have time for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have Google Voice numbers, so we get the Google spam all the time. Your Google business list number.
Yeah, just all those bullshit calls. Filter all those out. That was really what made me get rid of it. Because if it was just like, oh, my name's Cindy, I'm looking for a DJ, even if she's a price shopper, budget, has $200,
but it's an actual
DJ,
person.
At least it was a person. Exactly.
Yeah. It wasn't. Do you want to extend your car warranty?
Exactly.
Like,
right.
I have no time for that.
Your student loans are overdue. We can help you with those.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I don't have student loans. At least not anymore. Thank the fuck Christ.
Yeah,
I don't even have student loans, and I get the calls about it.
I paid for my college. I paid for my college out of pocket, as it happened. But I only went to 3 semesters, a full year, and then 1 semester, whatever that is.
That's 5 semesters.
Maybe I only.
Well, after I left the 4-year college I went to, I did go to broadcasting school, so I had to pay for that. And
I was thinking
I paid that off quite a while ago, thank God. So
yeah. Broadcasting school, huh?
Yeah, man.
We didn't tackle that. What'd you do with that? What do you? Is that like for radio? What?
Yeah, I went. I was still neck deep in the private event mobile DJing, and I loved doing it. But I was like, let me diversify. Let me have some other options. Maybe I don't do this for the rest of my life. Maybe I go in a different route. So, the big one up in the tri-state area, and they do have locations up and down the East Coast, was the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Mm-hmm. And I specifically picked one of their campuses in Connecticut because they had a pipeline to WFAN Sports Radio in New York City. It's like the biggest sports talk station in the country, kind of revolutionized sports talk radio, because I'm a big sports fan. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'd like to get in there. And I did the program. When I finished my internship, I got to intern at WFAN in New York City, and that was at a time when Don Imus was still the morning show host there. He's a radio legend. We had other radio hosts there, and I did that, and I did my internship, and I loved it. But when it came time, so Mike, we'd like to offer you a part-time position. We have 15 part-timers on staff, and we have 12 part-time shifts available a month, and we're going to pay you $9 an hour, and I'm living an hour and a half north of New York City, and I'd have to drive or take the train. I'm like, fuck that, I'm out. See ya.
Hell no. Yeah, I'd rather sell fucking thongs on Etsy. Fuck that. Like, Jesus Christ. That was the first thing that came to mind.
I did end up locally. I did do about 6 years. I was a part-time radio DJ for an alternative rock station, which was fun. I enjoyed it. It was cool to be on the radio. I got concert tickets. I got to see lots of bands up close and live. It was fun, but again, the pay wasn't there, the hours weren't there unless you were getting into the you know, Howard Stern range. You're not going to make big time bucks in radio, you know?
Yeah.
Almost every radio DJ I know had a part-time job or a side hustle to make ends meet. You know, so I gave that up, but it was fun while it lasted.
Right. I bet also, I mean, it probably helped you as a DJ, like with the voice. You know what I mean? Like
the radio voice.
It's funny you mentioned that. I know where you're going with it. The first thing the program director said to me was, be conversational. Don't try to be an announcer. Be conversational. You know, have fun with it. And one thing that I took away, the general manager of the station, he told me something that I still to this day teach my DJs and my headliners and MCs, the guys that'll be on the mic. And this guy said to me, when you open that microphone and you're going to talk to our radio audience, whatever you're going to say, don't say 20 words when you can get it out of your mouth in 10. Use an economy of words. Less is more. Don't start rambling on, because then you start losing your train of thought. You don't know where to end the sentence or end the statement or the point you're trying to make. Don't say 20 words when you can do it in 10. And I've never forgotten that, and I use it to this day. And I'll shorten up what I say to eliminate the chances of making mistakes or fumbling my words.
Sometimes I see like New Jersey wedding dudes who are killing it, by the way, like in their area. They're not bad or anything, but it's just a different style. And like you know, like Billie Jean will be playing or something like that, and like they'll in the middle of the song just be like, I can't think, I don't know what I would say, but like, got any Billie Jeans out there? Like something like that, like on topic with the song they're listening to. And it just keeps going. Like next is fucking Push It. And it's like, who's going to push it?
They're constantly on the mic.
They're constantly on the mic. And here, someone would be like, dude,
shut the fuck up.
Immediately be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you sound like a cheese ball. And up there, maybe that's not cheesy or whatever, and maybe it is, and I'm just tripping, but I would just never do that, you know? Like, we're like, we're going to cut the cake.
You would be looked at as cheesy if you were doing that constantly for 4 hours at someone's wedding or Sweet 16 or any event. You would absolutely be looked at as kind of the cheesy, you know, kind of 90s DJ. Like, that's not what clients are looking for. I'm not opposed to my guys or myself being interactive, but I pick my spots and pick my battles, and I pick kind of like, where's the entry point where I'm going to say, hey, everyone make some noise for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or you know, raise the roof. Like, I will kind of judiciously pick my battles, pick my spots to do that, and then shut the hell up and let them have fun.
Yeah, you just need to interject when, like, if this song is big with the bride and groom, like saying like, this is so and so's favorite song or something like that, like or just like you said, just raise your hands on occasion, put your hands up, make some noise, but it like doesn't even need to be close to every song.
There's just there's like you said, there's a time,
and audiences are different too. It depends what the audience gives you in terms of reaction purposes as well.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, if they're responding,
if you get a bad response, you just shut the fuck up the rest of the night.
That's exactly where I was going. You know, if I go in for some kind of call and response thing at a party and I get a tepid or lukewarm reaction, all right, I'm going to stay off the microphone and wait till I see another moment where I think it will get a better response to try again. But I will, you know, holster the microphone for the foreseeable time frame until I think it's appropriate again.
Yeah.
I like that, holster the microphone.
When I was still like kind of like training new DJs and whatnot, one thing I would always try at least to get them to realize is like, something audio has to be happening at all times. Like, yes, ideally it's music. However, if there's a time, and a great example is if you do an anniversary dance. I don't know if you ever do those.
Yeah, we do that.
Right. So you do the anniversary dance. If you're a one-man show, though, the difficulty, unless you have some crazy tech, is you have to cross the room with the song stopped. right? Because once the song ends, if you're going to have the hand off the mic to the super old lady or the old couple that wins, you know, you have the 10-second walk to hand them the mic, and then you have the walk back, you know. And yeah, you could play like a tiny, like a quieter song. But anyways, basically, during that walk, you talk on the microphone.
Oh yeah.
That's my point.
Filling the
I was
air.
like,
Filling
where are
the
you going
air.
with this?
Filling the air. I know that was a long way to say that, but to someone who just looks at like brand new DJ, they're like, all right, if audio has to be playing, it has to be music. That would be your first thought. And it's like, well, let's say the song ends and you're about to change. Maybe you're playing like Baby Got Back or EDM, whatever the fuck, bangers, and you're about to, you know, bust in At Last, Etta James. Well, if you just cold cut into that, not so much. You know, it might not be as smooth. But if you go silent and be like, this one's for the ladies, and then switch into Etta James, that's kind of cheesy. But at least you're selling that transition a little better because you use the microphone and it's not silent.
We teach all of our guys that the microphone, you know, is a tool that can help you in situations like that. If we have, you know, if our MC is on an event, one of our MCs is on an event and he's kind of like training or working in a new DJ who's, you know, kind of ready to start DJing on his own, but still needs that kind of supervision. And I'll be like, bro, if you're going from one song to another and it starts sounding like a train wreck, or Joe Bunn's phrase, you know, shoes in a dryer,
right?
Get on the mic and cover that mix for him and, you know, smooth it out, because then people are going to key in on the voice, not the music, and go on to the next thing. Or, like you said, if there's a radical change in tempo and pace, like, all right, we need to slow it down for a moment, use the microphone to ease that transition so it's not as abrupt or kind of startling, you know?
That was always a trick in a nightclub. If you're gonna like go from playing straight up fucking Migos and then you're gonna drop Love Story by Taylor Swift in the middle of that, if you just go silent and be like, this one's for the ladies, and then play that, then all of a sudden the whole room is with it. But if you just did that without saying that, it is like, what the fuck was that? It is the total different sell on that song. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You can sell yourself out of like shitty requests too.
Right. Well,
you know, or a questionable, like, I don't know if this is going to work song, but like it was a request by so-and-so, or the bride had it on the request list, and you throw a name out there to
but I'm just saying, like,
in.
that would be, you know, if it's like a lady sing along or something, and I was gonna play it, it's not necessarily like it was a request. It could have been, but either way. So, all right, question in the chat: how detailed do y'all get into your policies and procedures agreement that the DJ signed, trying to toe the line with 1099 DJs, but also want to uphold standards?
Well, that's a good question.
I'll let you take that. Yeah.
I was about to ask. Start off. What are your guys' W or 1099 or W2
or a swarm?
They are all employees and they work exclusively for us. They get payroll checks every week. They have taxes taken out. They are W2. We do not have a single subcontractor.
Do they sign non-competes?
What?
Do they sign non-competes as well?
No, they're free to do whatever they want. Like if someone doesn't want to be here, they don't want to be here. Like, I'm not going to force somebody, but we pay them a good wage. We keep them busy. We keep them engaged. We pay better than some of the other companies in our area, and we keep them busy and happy. Like, we've got guys that, you know, the company is still kind of fairly new, based, you know, where it is today, but we've got guys that have been with us for years that are very happy and have no kind of long, like, plans. Like, there's not a guy, let's put it this way, I don't see any of my guys and I look at them and go, this guy's going to break away and start his own thing. You know what I mean? Or I'm concerned that this guy might be trying to book something out from under us, you know, and do a kind of side thing. You know, they're all well paid, they're compensated. We do have, the person asked, whoever asked that chat question about like policies and procedures, we do have an employee handbook. We do have policies in place. We have progressive discipline if there's an issue, you know, whether it's a verbal warning, written warning, being taken off the schedule, termination. Like, we do all that type of stuff. Like, this is a, you know, we try to run it as much like a, you know, company and a business like any other industry would, you know?
Right. And Rick is the same way. Rick,
Yeah,
you're all W2s.
we're all employees as well.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, some of us, those of us, I mean, there are kind of like gig workers, got, staffers that only work the weekends, whether it's being an assistant or a photo booth attendant or like those other kind of weekend only roles, but they're all on the books as well.
Right.
And they're free to have other jobs during the week. But, we've even gotten to a point where like myself and some of the other senior staffers, like I have a retirement fund with the company that I, put into and the company puts into.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So do you run your like techs and assistants as employees as well?
What was that?
He said 100%. I mean, he
Like,
said, are your techs and assistants, like all the not DJs, not photo booth attendants?
They're all employees.
Like the random labor people, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all employees. I even have rental staffers that work during the week doing deliveries, pickups, maintaining the warehouse, the inventory, that type of stuff. Everyone's an employee.
Gotcha.
I actually was 100% W-2s until COVID hit, and then it just threw my life in the blender, and the only way to stay afloat was to drop that policy. And then ever since then, we actually switched to 100% 1099s, which is definitely not the typical transition. Is the total opposite of that is typically what you hear. But it's working out just fine for me. We don't do any contracts between us and the subcontractor people. It's basically completely friendship status. If it came the day you were fucking up, it would just be like, well, you're just not gonna be booked anymore, I guess. Right. Honestly, I've never ran into any issues. So far, so good. Yet again, we're still in the infancy of that switch, so I can't really say too much. But so far, so good. Obviously, there are no issues with the W-2. It comes with its own battles, but that is like an issue-free almost scenario.
And I mean, you start running into things like, now you have to consider, in terms of your company's expenses and whatnot, you have unemployment tax, workers' compensation, you've got like all these taxes. Other things. What was that?
It's all sorts of taxes and fees to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Josh handles that with the company's accountant, and
right. And there are plenty of pros and cons.
There's tons
the W-2s, you have fun telling me you can't work. That's not how this works. That's a number one gripe.
It's no different than the, do you use Serato or do you use virtual DJ? Mm-hmm. Do you use this brand of speaker or that brand of speaker? Are you a 1099 or a W-2? There are pros and cons. Both can get the job done and both are effective.
There's no necessarily right or wrong.
Yeah.
I know plenty of dudes that do a mix. I would imagine if I edited my shit, it would go back to a mix. I'll never stop 1099ing people, just because of the bulk we book. It's easier to bring on a load of DJs that I trust enough to fill those crazy busy dates and take on 20 weddings or something like that. Mm-hmm. Where if I had 20 W-2 DJs, obviously you have to keep them busy all year. And that would not be fair because I'm incapable of doing that. And if I was capable, then I could have 40 guys on the busy days, so it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my take.
We do it where, a lot of our kind of like full-time senior staffers have multiple roles. Like Josh's brother, Matt, in addition to performing, he's the director of sales. He coordinates what bridal shows we do, who's going to be on them. He distributes leads to the people. We've got a guy that he's a DJ and he works under Matt as a sales rep. I have a DJ that's the director of operations for the entire company. So guys are doing other things that the company needs done to justify being a full-time or being a W-2 employee.
That's cool to hear because that's the route I've just started taking with our staff. I brought one of them up. He actually runs a whole different division of the company, and I just hired another one that's running our marketing social side. So,
that's something like our company. We will freely admit that we are not as strong at is using social media, and we're still booking like crazy. Our calendar is packed, but we are fully anticipating that within 12 months, we will have a dedicated social media director for the company.
Yep.
And whether it's a DJ that currently works for us or a person we hire exclusively for that, they never even see a gig. We haven't gotten there yet, but there will be a social media director for the company. Eric, you all right there?
Dude, I don't know. I got something in my eye, and it is just killing me all this.
I didn't even notice it. He's beside me.
I'm like over here tripping out. I'm like,
he's like
crying and dying. I know.
See, you're looking at both of us directly. I'm just looking at you. And you just said, Eric, are you okay? I'm like, what's wrong with
I
him?
have these like medical grade eye drops, and apparently I need them right now because my eyes are going nuts.
I got a solution in another room.
It just won't help at all. Whatever. It's fine. It's dying now. I just have to take my glasses off, let the motherfuckers breathe.
Your glasses don't really suffocate your eyes much, you know.
You don't wear glasses. You don't know.
I wear
I do.
I wear
I took
contacts.
them off so I didn't have the reflection on the screen.
I wear contacts, man.
I do contacts.
I can't do
I
contacts.
only wear contacts though, Rick. I only wear mine when I'm performing or if I'm playing hockey, like playing a sport or something. When I'm day to day, I have the glasses on and kind of conserve the contacts for when I need them.
Do you have one-a-days or do you have like monthly ones?
I had up until about 6 months ago, I had like the 2-week ones. And then the last eye exam, like, oh, well, do you want to do the dailies? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I use the dailies.
I've been on the dailies for 7 years, I think. And like, it's game changer because like you don't give a shit about your contact. If a contact flips over, you just throw it away.
Yep,
Get a new one.
I like the glasses because it makes my face look a little thinner. Kind of takes the eyes off my double chin, you know? Anyways.
That's an interesting way to think about it.
So, talking about wedding shows, do you pay the DJs if they come out for both 1099 and W-2? So, if we do a wedding show, because everyone is 1099, it's just considered event income. It's the same type of invoicing, paying off the invoice situation, 1099. And when it was W-2, I would just pay them a flat rate for doing. So really, it's the exact same thing. They just happen to get taxes taken out one way, and the other way they don't.
So you're paying your guys to attend a bridal show?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't pay them.
Yeah. Well,
I just pay my guys hourly just for the time that they're there, and then we normally go out to dinner afterwards. And I've made it a fun game the last couple of years now of
who can make Rick more money.
Who can get the most inquiry. So on the form it asks who they talk to, and whoever can get the most people to say their name is I always give them like $50 or something like that at the wedding show. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, we
like one of
certainly
those
have like
lollipops
sales
from the
goals. Like we
bank.
have one that starts tomorrow that whoever closes, and it's not a race at who's the first, but any salesperson that closes X number of dollars for that month is going to get like $150 Visa gift card. If they hit another plateau, another point, it's going to be a $250 one. But it's not a race to only one could get it. Everybody that's doing it could. But with the bridal shows, it's usually like the senior guys that have been here the most doing the kind of full-time work attend them to generate the leads and the contact points. And if other guys want to attend them, they're welcome to. They're not required to. But we tell them, like, it'll be easier for us to book you if you get some FaceTime and you show up. Like, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I would book.
We also do, though, we do private showcases. I don't know if you guys know what that is down there.
Yeah, like at venues. Is that
What was that?
Are you talking like at venues where it's like a private little, just like 10 or 20
Event
vendors?
for us, yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Oh, wait, like, are you talking about like one you throw yourself?
Bingo.
Yes. Okay, I've heard of them. No,
Yeah,
I don't
we
know of
do-
anybody doing those.
We ain't do that.
Yeah, we do private showcases. We'll partner with different venues and kind of move them around the area. And we will invite brides and grooms that we've seen or have met us at bridal shows or through the various leads that come into the company. And all the guys attend that. And that way each one gets a little mic time. They get to explain their personality. They get to kind of put themselves out there. And our closing rate on those is so high. Like that's kind of like our model is the bridal show is to get the contact information to get them to the showcase.
They explain their personalities on the mic. It's funny you say that.
Well,
And I'm
not even
such a
explain,
douche.
but the showcases.
Yeah, I know what you meant, but
know-
you get that email. It's like, well, I just want to make sure that your personality clashes with my vision. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, I always just want to be like, you're such a fucking idiot.
I gotta.
Like, of course, I'm gonna lie to you and be like, happy. Like all these DJs are gonna act like they like you and like are excited to be there. It's not like they're gonna be like, my name's Brian and I crumble under pressure when I go to the grocery store, and like that's his real personality because he's a DJ. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we don't run into that because there's plenty of content for them to figure out all the personalities.
You didn't laugh at my joke.
It wasn't that. I know you're making fun of Brian. It's okay.
Oh, no, that's not. Well, this Brian is definitely not that. But
he's pretty close.
Brian Bass, shit. I feel like he's the most aggressive Facebooker I am aware of other than myself.
He's a pretty aggressive in person, too.
Yeah. I've actually only met him once.
You've only met him once?
Yeah.
I've met him more than you, and he works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. He works for me, too, technically.
Yeah. Anyways.
It's beauty of being a 1099.
So it is 9:59, and Rachel said she would remove my testicles if I did not leave at 10. So we have to wrap this up.
I mean, that could be an exciting podcast if we see your...
We're going to take the podcast on the road, people. Here we go. Anyways, so yes, on that note, Michael, any last words before we get off here? Where can people find you at? Email, phone number, Instagram. What's the best way to get Facebook? Whatever?
I'm on Facebook. It's Michael Alevras. So you're going to spell it wrong. So look at the link. I was so pleased that Eric spelled it right on the graphic. I was like, yes.
That was Rick.
Technically that was you because you enter
it into
the way
Google
it works.
sheet.
We have a Google sheet, and then I send the stuff to the graphic person. So if he enters it incorrectly, like last week, it ends up on the graphic.
Hey, she had that name on Facebook. I just copy and pasted it.
Yeah, no, that was the way to do it. But no, it's you can email me at mike@hveventgroup.com. I'll be going out to Marquee this year. I'm going to be speaking at that show, and I think plenty of DJs know this, but I'm also the co-host and co-producer of the nightlife events at DJX in Atlantic City with Daryl Jacobson. I'll be doing that again. So
cool.
I'm usually out and about and getting to perform, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll probably see you at Atlantic City this year.
I will definitely.
Are you going to Marquee?
Undecided. Marquee's in June. Is that June?
I will not be going to Marquee.
June is tough. We're going to see Blink-182 in June. I think in New York, actually. It's like east of Manhattan, somewhere over there.
Yeah, I can't do anything between June and August because we have just we're gonna go to Atlantic City, but goddamn, I got way too much going on in July right now. I'm like gone the whole month of July.
Whatever, yeah, but Atlantic City is easy.
So email, Facebook, people can find me. I'm really open and giving about networking, sharing ideas, chatting up other DJs. Like I am an open book. I will always make time for another DJ that wants some of my time to chat. I'm always happy to do it. And, the trade shows, I'm a big supporter of all of them. So I'm always either an attendee or participating in them.
And they're fun. I love
Hell
going.
yeah.
I love going. That's my favorite. That's like my vacations for the year.
That's exactly right.
I have more fun doing that than like random vacation.
My first one was Atlantic City in like 2000, I think. 2000? Yeah, 2000.
This past year was my first one.
Which one?
This past year.
I still can't get over that, but that's another story. In fact,
Whatever.
It's the closest show, and he's only been to it once in the past.
The closest?
Yeah, Atlantic City.
Nah, dude. Fucking. Anyways, whatever.
Name another show that's closer. It's a 7-hour drive.
Midwest DJs was not Midwest.
You're thinking Arms.
Arms. That was.
Oh, okay. Well,
Arms DJ.
Tennessee.
Driving distance.
Whatever.
Anyways,
Michael,
to get his balls chopped off.
Yes.
Michael, thanks for being on the podcast tonight. We enjoyed it.
Yeah,
if you guys are watching this right now, be sure you hit the subscribe button. If you guys are listening to this, go over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button so we can get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of next month. I don't know. We only need like 50 more. So if you're listening,
I subscribed, so I added one more to you.
Yes,
I saw that. We're up to 48 now. So we need
48 people.
52 more.
52 people. Click subscribe.
Click subscribe.
Come
on. Then we'll do like multi-camera angles and shit like that.
You can look closer at my face while I'm scratching my eyeball like crazy.
Well, hey, anytime you guys want me back, I'm happy to do it. Just ask. I'm there.
Cool, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you. This is great.
If Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Erik will not be here, but I'll have my boy DJ Marcellus, and we're going to be diving into all the backing works of how Fusion works.
Yeah, so nobody come to that one.
Nobody come to that one unless you want to know how my business works, which is pretty boring. So anyways, peace out. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Have a good one, guys.
See you guys next one.